Good morning, everybody. It is a gorgeous day out here on the ranch. There is not a cloud in the sky. Light breeze, nice and warm. I think it's about 16, 17 degrees right now. It's gonna get up to above freezing. As you can see, we got snow on the ground. We have rain in the forecast over the next couple days. We'll see if that actually holds true, but we're gonna be up above 50 degrees in a few days, which is gonna be, it's gonna feel great, but it's gonna be horrible. This stuff is gonna all start melting, especially if we start getting some rain. It's gonna be a sloppy mess back here. And then it's gonna get back to the 40s, so not too much of a swing. The other day, we were at actual temp of negative, I think we were just under negative 20. And then when we had some wind chills, we were getting up to negative 40. Certain parts of the state were almost negative 50, and then we're gonna be above 50 degrees here in the next couple days. So quite the temperature swings over the course of the week, but I think this warm up's gonna stick around. You know, we're getting to the end of February here, so hopefully the March warm up starts and that temperature stays. We could definitely use the moisture though, so I wouldn't be opposed to more snow or some rain, as messy as it's gonna make things. Our well continues to be the lowest it's ever been in years. What's up, buddy? And it's just gonna obviously help the grass growth and help our water table if we can get as much moisture as possible. What do you think, dude? Cows are actually doing really good this morning. So the other morning I went to go leave for work to go to shift, and the tractor wouldn't start. It was way too cold. It was negative 12. And even though I keep the tractor plugged in on a battery tender, it just wouldn't fire up. I was gonna bring out a round bale. They had eaten up everything the night before, but I had to bring out small squares. And I was pleasantly surprised this morning when I got home from shift and nobody was yelling at me, screaming at me. There was still a handful of cows laying around at about 7:20, 7:30 in the morning. So that's always a good sign. When they're not up looking for food right away, when they're not yelling at me as soon as they see me or coming up to the barn, that's the worst. They see me and they start coming up to the barn right away. That's usually a sign that they are starving. So let's talk about the results from Iowa State. Not a whole lot of answers, unfortunately. I did get some answers, but not as much as I would have wanted. Now, this is both good and bad. Bad because I almost would have preferred an actual answer, just because then I would know how to treat it. You can't treat something if you don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So as glad as I was to see that there were 4 negative test results, the 4 things they were able to test for came back negative. The fact is it happened, and I don't know why it happened. And if one of those tests had come back positive, or something had come back positive that I could treat for or vaccinate against or something like that, it kind of would have made me feel a little bit better. I'll put a screenshot of the report here up on the screen, but you'll notice that there were 4 tests that were done, and I was shocked. Lepto and Neospora were 2 that I was really leaning towards. Actually, I had a lot of you comment on my last video that kind of echoed those thoughts with Lepto and Neospora as worries on your own ranch. It's good that those tests were negative, because just like my vet told me, you really don't have to change anything. So I'm not gonna start dumping a bunch of vaccines in them. It very well could have been a traumatic reason why she aborted. The only other thing that I have not looked into that I need to is possibly pine needle poisoning. And this is something that I remember reading a long time ago. I do have some pine trees, some cedar trees that grow up on the edges of our property that I have seen the cows eat. I mean, they will shove their nose in these trees and I'll see them eat it. Speaking of testing, one thing that I failed to do this fall going into feeding hay was I was gonna have my hay tested. It was on my list just more as a curiosity thing and also as a way to try and cut down on my supplements. So I've had these protein licks out starting February 1st. Today is February 22nd. So we're over 20 days. I've got 2 protein licks, 2 50-pound tubs out, and both of them look like this. Hardly any gone. And in the years past, when I've thrown out these protein licks, especially with a herd not even this size, you know, fewer animals, I've been through protein licks within 15 days before. So that is actually leading me to believe that they are getting plenty of protein out of this new hay that I've been feeding this year. Also, if anyone is curious, this is a 35-inch tire with a 17-inch rim, and these lick tubs from Purina fit perfectly. These are 30% protein lick tubs. They fit perfectly inside these tires and stop the cows from flipping them over. And once it starts getting lower, the cows are licking on it a lot more aggressively or even biting at it. I've seen them, you know, drag these tubs halfway across the pasture and they end up disappearing and just protecting them from blowing around in the wind. If anyone can get their hands on some 35 by 17s, that's a great little hack. As far as bedding goes, dude, I am super happy with this ryegrass bedding. If this is an option for me again next year, then I'm definitely going to choose these over cornstalk bales just because they stay together so much nicer. And as you saw, it's easy to almost unroll it, put a big flake out, then I can take that bale back out of the way of the cattle, set it down, come back, pick it up again in a few days, flake more off. My only concern is how this stuff is going to break down once it comes time to pull it out of here and compost it. So everything in this shed, every year, you know, I leave all the manure, keep adding bedding on top of it. It comes out before the grass starts growing. Once the ground is dry enough to get the tractor back here, I'll scrape all this out, put it into a compost pile, and then last year's pile then gets spread either on the pasture or put into the garden planter boxes. So, you know, in the years past, I've just used straw. Straw breaks down really, really well. I'm really curious to see how this stringy, very dense ryegrass breaks down. I might have to be adding a lot more nitrogen to it to actually get that composting action. So that's my only holdup. The girls will actually eat on it. So it has saved me some hay consumption because I'll flake this stuff out. They'll walk around for 20, 30 minutes eating as much of it as they do before they start stepping on it, urinating on it, defecating on it, and fouling it up. And worst come to worst, let's say I underbought my hay this year and I needed to throw out another large round. In a pinch, I'm sure the nutritional quality of this stuff is not as great as the hay that I've got out, but in a pinch, I could throw one of these ryegrass bales out into the hay feeder and they would happily eat it. So 323 back here is eating on it because everyone's crowded around the hay ring like you saw, and she gets pushed out. She just comes over here and eats this. It works out. That's it, guys. I wish I had more answers for you on that abortion, but you know, those 4 likely causes, including that neospore and that lepto being negative, I suppose that's an answer. We are getting ever closer to calving. I cannot wait. I got one of the mamas looking at me right now. We're starting to get those little mama moves, and anyone who raises cattle, raises mama cows, knows what I'm talking about. You'll just randomly start to hear them do these really low, slow, drawn out moves just randomly, and you know that it's mama talking to the baby. So it makes me excited. Hope everyone's winter is going well, and questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, you know the drill, leave them down below. Find us on Instagram at WR_ranch. We're online, www.wrockingr.com. And if anyone needs help with anything when it comes to raising cattle, trying to get into it for the first time, not knowing what to do, you guys know I'm happy to help, as well as the comments that people leave on my videos. Very educational. Post them up. You know, if I can't answer them, I'll definitely ask some of my other viewers, see if they have any ideas. So, all right, thanks, guys. We'll catch you at the next one.